All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstone taught us this truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. And the elect begins with the 144,000. Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah. BAHASHAM is in the name. YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The word Kakwa, Dasha, is the Holy Spirit. I'm the brother I will love you with the gym at Chicago, camp out here in Chicago. Come back at you, brothers and sisters of the household of faith of the Hope for Right Select with another lesson. And Lord willing, I hope this lesson be edifying through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. Once again, I hope this lesson is edifying. I'm gonna just entitle this lesson, He is as death. Really laying back and on the elders live stream they had here in Chicago, this last past Sunday, really going into how Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white race, it's really, they bring death everywhere they go, man. Everything that's supposed to be good for man's life, what's supposed to be good for the earth, they weaponize it. They ultimately, they destroy everything that they touch, and ultimately, Esau Edom was designed that way, man. He was designed to bring death upon the planet Earth, man. Before I get to this Ecclesiastes, let me grab this, a classic. This is the book of Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? The earth is given to the hands of the wicked, because you have three classifications of men. You have the sons of God, which are the Israelites. You have the sons of men, which ultimately makes up the other heathen nations. And you have the sons of the wicked, which is Esau Edom, man, the self-proclaimed white race. So the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. And ultimately with the earth given into the hands of the wicked, because it talks about that, I believe it's Daniel's the 4th chapter. It talks about, give it to whosoever he will, even the bases of men, because Esau Edom is low on all levels, man. Morality, the way he rules, he's the basis of all men. That's who the earth is given to, man. And just look at the state of earth today, man. You have sexuality running rampant, man. You have, we're eating poison foods. We're ultimately breathing in poison air. Ultimately, the earth doesn't give his increase, because this devil ultimately, he goes around digging everywhere, doesn't give the earth, any rest, which was touched upon in the elders live stream, man. So whatever this devil goes, man, he brings nothing but destruction, man. Everything ultimately dies when this devil comes around, man. Have you ever seen the it's a short film called The Man. You search that in on YouTube, you'll ultimately see, this Edomite character, ultimately everything that he touches, he destroys, man. Let me read this again. This is the book of Job 9:24. Says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? And right, when this devil came back into power, he did cover the faces of the judges thereof. Man, that's a term called iconoclasm. He went in, destroyed the dark-skinned images, recreated them. And a lot of the times, he repainted them, man. So it says what? It says where and who is he? So if this is not the so-called white man that's doing these things, man, who is, man? This so-called white man is the result of everything that is wrong with the earth today. But let's actually grab this in Ecclesiastes real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7:13. It says, consider the work of Yahweh, for who can make that straight which he have been made crooked? And right, this devil has been made crooked, man. He was ultimately created to do what was contrary to the ways of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, man. He was created to do wickedly, man. Because even in Romans 9, it says what? The Lord has created one for dishonor and made one for dishonor. So you have a good guy, you have a bad guy. And ultimately what? Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white race, was created to be that villain in the planet Earth, man. Ultimately giving everybody hell, destroying everything, man. This is how the Lord ultimately designed his story, man. And ultimately what? Esau Edom is that big bad, man. That's running rampant throughout the earth. That's destroying everything, man. That's ultimately passing these unrighteous decrees that you can read in Isaiah the 10th chapter, man. That's ultimately taking all the natural resources and hoarding up into himself. Changing what's supposed to be good, ultimately turning it to death. How was vegetation turned into death, man? By spraying pesticides on it, man, and recreating them. You got 3D printed food, man. And all these was discussed during the elders live stream, man. These wicked laws, the relationship between man and woman is destroyed by the way these wicked laws, Esau even giving the woman over, giving power to the woman over the man, man. These are the sad things that happens when the wicked bears rule, man. You know? So this devil was created to do cricket, man. This devil was created to do that which is contrary to the ways of YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. You know? And every rulership that these Edomites have, had, you had the you had the Greeks, you had the Romans, and you had the second leg of the Roman Empire, which is America, man. It says what? It says wickedness multiplied on the planet Earth, man. You know? This is the book of Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red. And we know why that horse was red. Because what? Ultimately it's a representation of Esau Edom, man. And there went out another horse that was red. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Because we know in Genesis the 27th chapter that Esau Edom was blessed with the sword, man. He was blessed with all different type of weaponry. He can weaponize certain things that was supposed to be good for you. And ultimately, he turned it into evil, man. I'm going to grab that in Sirach, the 39th chapter. But let's start back at the top. Revelation 6 and 4 says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they shall kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword, right as I mentioned in that that Genesis, the 27th chapter, man. Ultimately, he was blessed, with the sword and with the fatness of the earth, because with this sword, he's able to take over these said lands by violence, man. And here you have it, you see at the top of the screen, it's a tornado warning, man. Here you have it, it's summertime, but you have an abnormal weather, man. Ultimately, we know that Esau Edom has the power to control the weather and things like that, man. This summer alone, I would say these last past months alone, man, it's been, a tornado warnings, man. Abnormal weather, man. Esau Edom has the power to control the weather, man. He has the power to do these said things, because what? He was given the sword, man. He is the wicked, man. Because he even talks about that in Isaiah the 14th chapter, man. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, man? Because this devil, ultimately has the power to do all those said things, man. But let's continue. This is the book of Habakkuk 2 and verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith, right? So Esau Edom he's naturally wicked, man. He can't do good. It says, but the just shall live by his faith, talking about the elect of the nation of Israel. Yea, also because he transgresses by lying, right, those philosophies, right? He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, right? Because ultimately, everywhere this devil goes, man, even in Malachi it says they shall call him the border of wickedness. Because everywhere this devil goes, man, he changes what? The culture of those people, man. He changes the laws of those people. And just look, everywhere this devil goes, man, he changes, the standard of living for a said nation, man. He does all these said things, man, by his different philosophies that he pushed, man. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and as death, right? Because ultimately, everywhere this devil goes, he takes the natural resource of that said land, man, and he's never satisfied, man. He can never have enough. And is as death, because wherever this devil goes, he destroys, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people, right? He's ultimately going to try to do that by the way of his new world order, by ultimately having everybody chip, man. By ultimately having everybody become one unto himself, man. He be, proclaiming himself as God, and he's proclaiming everybody else as the slaves, man. It says, verse 6, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? Because everything that Esau Edom has is not his, man. He has taken it. America is a big example of that. He took it, from our brothers, the so-called North American Indians, which is Gad. The Seminole Indians, which is Reuben. Ultimately what? The Northern Kingdom. Because you ultimately had Issachar that ultimately had territory on the west coast of America, man. It says, woe to him that increases that which is not his, right? Destruction unto that person, man. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And you go into that word thick clay, it goes into Ibadiyat, which goes into heavy debts, man. Just look at the American debt clock, man. Everybody that you look at, 9 out of 10 people, is in heavy debt, man. Just look at the debt clock, And so ultimately, we're living in a time where this devil is about to be paid back. But wherever this devil goes, man, there's nothing but death and nothing but destruction, man. Let's grab this. This is the book of Micah 2:1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning gets light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Because, right, you have these devils behind the scenes, concocting up wicked deeds, wicked plans, wicked actions to see how they can oppress, how they can steal, how they can kill, how they can destroy. This is what these devils ultimately, talk about behind the scenes, how they can keep the nation of Israel, no people. And they cover fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Right? Hey, the thief coming not to but to kill, but to steal, kill, and destroy. Man, we're going to end out with that. But everywhere this devil goes, he covered fields, he take them by violence, killing the inhabitants of their land, taking their culture and proclaiming it as his own. Man, Let's grab this, because as I mentioned, man, everything that this devil touches, man, is as death. Sirach 39:25. It says, for the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil things for sinners. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, and flour, wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil, and clothing. All right, so these said things are supposed to be good unto man, but these said things are turned to the evil because Esau Edom weaponizes everything, man. Every, food item you get, it's all different type of college words on the back that you have to research, man, because it's different type of poisons in your food that Esau Edom injects in the food. He restructures the food. These said things supposed to be good for us, but these said things are destroying us, man, because he weaponizes it. All things are created for good to the godly. All these things are for good to the godly, to the sinners, they are turned into evil because Esau Edom weaponizes everything, man. He turns it against you, man. You're trying to eat more of a healthy lifestyle, live a healthy lifestyle, but ultimately what? These said things are killing you because what this devil is doing, Let's grab this. John 10:10, I'm going to close out with this one. It says, John 10:10, it says, the thief cometh not but for to kill, steal, and destroy. It says, I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly, right? This is what the devil comes to do. Comes to kill, steal, and destroy, man. And ultimately what? The Lord is coming back to ultimately to take this devil out of power, man. Hey, what's that? It's the right thing. The Lord coming back to, Lord coming, the physician coming, cut off a long disease, and this devil is a disease, man, for what this devil was doing. But just something quick I wanted to get into, man. Lord, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to end up by giving all praise, honor, glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstone, taught us truth, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. Lord, I hope this lesson was edifying. Until next time, Kwam Yasharallah, Shalom, and Abba Babal. Until next time, Lord willing.